Hi there, I'm Professor Booton. I'm one of the clinicians at the National Migraine Centre, and we're going to answer some of your questions on migraine today. So, first off, are migraines dangerous? Well, no, they're not dangerous, they're merely extremely nasty. So people who get a migraine feel sick, they often are sick, they don't want to see the light, they don't want to hear any noise, they don't want to smell nasty smells, they want to get their head down in a dark room and stay there for 6 hours, 12 hours, sometimes for several days at a time. Are you likely to come to any harm from your migraine? No, that's very, very unlikely indeed. It's just a very, very unpleasant experience. What we go next? Are migraines a disability? Yeah, they can be a disability. The trouble is, in thinking about this, is that there's a big spectrum with migraine from people, well, like me, I get migraine, I get sort of 1 or 2 attacks a year, they don't last very long, they don't bother me very much. I'm very fortunate like that. But other people, when they get an attack, it may last 3 or 4 days, it may last a week. During that time they can do nothing very much. They can't go to work, they can't look after their children, they can't eat or drink easily. And for people like that, if you're getting those frequently, that certainly comes into the category of a disability. And in fact, the World Health Organization classify migraine as one of the top 10 disabling causes in women, because of course migraine is much commoner in women than in men, but in the top 20 in men as well. So yes, for some people migraine is a significant disability. Right, next please. Oh, we've got blue tack all over it. Are migraines like small strokes? They can be. About a third of the people who get migraine get what we call aura, which is most commonly when you see these flickering, flashing lights coming out of the corners of your vision, or blind spots in your vision, or tunnel vision, or you can't see to one side or the other. And sometimes those can extend so you get pins and needles down your arms and your legs, or numbness down your arms and your legs. Very, very rarely people actually get what looks like paralysis down their side. And so in those situations they look a little bit like a stroke, and you may need to see your doctor to sort out whether it's a migraine or whether it's a stroke. And if you talk to stroke doctors, quite a lot of the people they see in their clinics with transient ischemic attacks, these short reversible strokes, turn out to be migraines. Right, next. Is migraine real? Is migraine real? Guess what? This question must have been asked by someone who doesn't get migraine. If you ask someone with migraine, is it real? You'll be lucky to escape without an axe in your head, which is equally real. But it's a funny thing, migraine. You can't see any signs of it outwardly. If you get a doctor to examine you, they won't find anything abnormal when they examine you. It's what's happening is happening inside your head, inside the deepest parts of your brain. Until recently, we used to do brain scans and things, and they don't show anything with migraine. But the newest brain scans, where you can follow the course of transmitters and activity in the brain, show quite clearly where the migraine is coming from in the brain and how it passes through the brain during the attack. And so we now know much more about it. It's a brain problem, it's a brain disease. In some ways it's quite similar to epilepsy in terms of how it affects the brain. But that's an analogy rather than saying it's part of the same disease. It's a very different thing from that. And finally, are migraines caused by stress? Are migraines caused by stress? Migraines are caused because you've got something going on in your brain which gives you a tendency to migraine. But what actually gives you the headache is often due to a build-up of different sorts of trigger factors, of which stress is one of them. Interestingly, and perhaps unfairly, release from stress is also a cause of triggers. So quite a lot of people, they do a busy week at work, and at the end of the week they go to bed preparing for a relaxing weekend, and what happens? They wake up on a Saturday morning with a headache. And some people that becomes a regular pattern, where it's the release from stress which causes the headache rather than the stress itself. Other people, as the stress builds up in the week, so your chance of a migraine increases. But stress isn't the only thing which is likely to give rise to a migraine. There are lots of other triggers as well. The common ones are not getting enough sleep, not drinking enough, not having a regular diet, so you let your blood sugar drop low. So there are lots of things which can increase your risk of having a migraine. But yeah, certainly stress is one of them. That's the end of the questions. I've been Paul Booton. This is the National Migraine Centre.